Hello and welcome to another episode of Short Sharp Schlocks, the YouTube show from the makers of Schlock Tactics, which is a bad movie podcast, but here we just talk about new and current movies, whether they be good, bad or otherwise. My name's Ash and today I'm here to talk to you about The Lighthouse, which is the new super art house, Lovecraftian, gothic horror film from the mind of Robert Eggers. You might know Robert Eggers from The Witch, which was a very popular, very arty horror film from way back in 2015. So he's taken 4 years to make another film, but he has made quite a splash, returning here with The Lighthouse. So, like I say, this is very Lovecraftian. It is set in New England on a isolated island with just a lighthouse on it, and it does star Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. And that's about it. It's a two-man show, very much like it could be a play. I'm actually recording in the throes of Storm Kiara as we speak, so if you do hear any splashing and howling rain, that is why, and that's very much what the sound design in The Lighthouse is like as well, which is probably one of my favourite things about it. In the cinema you get the surround sound and it's all just howling wind, rain, and the actual noise of, I guess, the foghorn or the lighthouse, which every sort of couple of minutes would just go which is very ominous. Compared to The Witch, this has got a load of dialogue in it, because really very long stretches in The Witch where no one says anything at all, and then when they do, it's in a very antiquated way of speaking. So I think in a weird way people will find this film more accessible in that it is more dialogue heavy, and you do get really strong performances from Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. A bit more from Willem Dafoe, I would say. Obviously, he's a great actor. He knows what he's doing. In terms of plot, it's really not a very plot-heavy film, as you know, typically art house films aren't. It's just kind of a proper film, properly directed. I saw it here in Bristol in the Watershed, and it did that thing where after the trailers the screen actually shrank instead of expanded, and it became just a perfect square, and it's very stark, black and white, just beautifully shot, a visual treat really. There actually were some rumours for a few years there that Robert Eggers would be doing a new version of Nosferatu, and at the time I thought that sounded a bit strange, having only seen The Witch, but I think when you see this film that makes an awful lot more sense. He obviously, I think, has seen and loves those German expressionist films like Nosferatu and The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and that's really obvious in this film. The light and dark, the shadow is really amazing to see on screen. Really, I think the main thing I would compare this film to, and there's not many directors that can do stuff like this, I really felt like The Lighthouse is kind of a modern day Eraserhead in many ways, and a modern day kind of David Lynch type film. You don't get that many directors that are doing things quite as outlandish and complex as David Lynch. Perhaps Ari Aster, Hereditary and Midsummer would maybe be in that camp as well. But I feel like Robert Eggers really does step up to a David Lynch type role and a level of dense art house filmmaking here. And just like Eraserhead, The Lighthouse is a nightmarish, disturbing. It's horror adjacent, like Eraserhead, but I wouldn't call it horror exactly. It's definitely disturbing and confusing. And there are obviously nightmarish things that will stay with you for a long time. And there are a couple of scenes in this film which visually just are burned onto my retinas and onto my brain. And you'll know what they are if you've seen it. So yeah, it's well worth seeing. It's a very hot topic at the moment amongst probably film students and art house film fans, those kinds of people, fans just of unique cinema, alternative, underground sort of options. Really strong performances from the two of them. Really a great film about madness, the subjectiveness of madness. So there's a lot of interplay between Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson about who is mad and who isn't, and who's driving the other mad and who isn't. And I think you get some more interesting back and forth than obviously if it had just been one lighthouse keeper. I think you would almost expect one lighthouse keeper on his own to not go mad, because that's what they do, but two lighthouse keepers and various Lovecraftian elements creeping in there. It creates a very tense film at times, but then there's a lot of laughs, surprisingly, as well. Like, there are moments where Willem Dafoe or Robert Pattinson will give this incredibly tense and dramatic monologue, and then the other one will say something completely flippant, and the audience that I was in laughed, perhaps out of relief from the tension, but I think it's intended to be funny in parts as well. So yeah, for me, The Lighthouse is one of the most interesting films of the year, one of the most disturbing. I felt much like I did after watching Midsummer, just quite exhilarated, and what the hell did I just see, and I think The Lighthouse does for Eraserhead what Midsummer did for The Wicker Man. It takes a familiar look and feel and concept and really updates it in a way that I think you're not really expecting a lot of the time. I wasn't expecting to see another film like Eraserhead in 2020, but I think it's got a lot of similarities in a great way, and it is its own thing as well, and it is Lovecraftian. Obviously, we've got Colour Out of Space with Nick Cage coming up in about a month in the UK, so that actually is adapted from Lovecraft, but there are lots of those elements in this film as well. So that's what I thought of The Lighthouse. Let me know what you thought. I'm sure this is a film that you've all got opinions on. What the hell is it all about? What were some of the more outlandish scenes trying to get at? Are you still processing? Do you need help? Do you need to talk to someone? Leave a comment below, whether you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. Give us a follow. Leave me a comment to tell me what you thought of The Lighthouse. And obviously follow along and subscribe so that you can be the first to know about these short reviews whenever they do come out. So that has been another episode of Short Sharp Schlocks. My name's been Ash, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Yes, I am. It's alive. It must be.